Hey there, Year 12. This dot point that we're looking at is 9.2.3.4. Explain why the processes of diffusion and osmosis are inadequate in removing dissolved nitrogenous wastes in some organisms. So let's check out what the dot point is asking us. Our word is explain for this one. So when we explain, we give the relationship between things, or we talk about the cause and the effect, or we just give a reasonably detailed explanation of why. Okay, so we're looking at why the processes of diffusion and osmosis are inadequate, so why they don't work to remove dissolved nitrogenous wastes in some organisms. So remember, nitrogenous wastes are produced from our cells' metabolism, okay? They're generally a waste product of protein synthesis and things like that, which is quite important in our cells, but the nitrogenous wastes are really not good for our bodies, so we have to get rid of them somehow. So we do a lot of things in our bodies with diffusion and osmosis, but they aren't really adequate at getting rid of nitrogenous wastes. So diffusion and osmosis are both types of passive transport, okay? So they rely on random movement of molecules from high concentrations to low concentrations along the concentration gradient, okay? So the main two reasons that diffusion can't be used to get rid of nitrogenous wastes are that it's too slow, okay? It's a reasonably slow process, and nitrogenous wastes are poisonous in our body, so we don't want them to build up. And so diffusion isn't quick enough to get rid of those wastes from our body at the speed that we need them to be gone, essentially. The other reason that diffusion can't help or isn't good enough on its own to get rid of nitrogenous waste is because it doesn't actually select the right substances. So it doesn't pick what's good or bad in our bodies, and that means that some really important nutrients would be lost, and also not all the toxic nitrogenous waste would be removed by diffusion, okay? Osmosis is also not adequate by itself in getting rid of nitrogenous wastes for the same two reasons of diffusion. First of all, okay, it's quite slow and it's not selective. So osmosis only deals with the movement of water, and therefore it would only let water move out of our body, not nitrogenous waste. So that's not helping us at all. It's not actually getting rid of any of the nitrogenous waste. And also, too much water could be lost in urine if the process only relied on osmosis. So we would have very high risk of being dehydrated all the time if getting rid of nitrogenous waste just relied on osmosis. So we can't rely solely on either of those things. What do? We combine active transport with diffusion and osmosis to get rid of those nitrogenous wastes, okay? So the reason we don't only use active transport is because it requires an energy input, okay? So we do still use diffusion and osmosis in some areas and in part of the process of getting rid of these wastes to save energy, but the bits that diffusion and osmosis can't cover, active transport does. And that's pretty much that summed up. Enjoy.